So at this time, I'd like to open the January 21st, 2020 Board of Public Works meeting. And I would ask if anybody is recording this meeting.
Yes, Bob Tadia for DPW.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
So, moving forward, myself and Mr. Julius are present. Mr. Hebert is not. And the first item on the agenda is review and approve the minutes of the meeting from January 7th, 2020. I had a chance to review them and they look good to me.
I looked at them in my email, so they look good to me too.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the 1/7/2020 meeting.
Second by necessity, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Second item on the agenda, Bruce, Superintendent's Report.
Yes, thank you very much. So I did, just so the board knows, I did meet with Mr. Hebert, the other board member who had some surgery done. He has looked at the budget, just so you guys know, and he's happy with it. So moving forward. Other than that, I know at our last meeting we were talking about our utilities and net metering credits. So I gave you guys a little cheat sheet. I'll just kind of go through it so the people at home may understand how that whole process works. I'm going to use some simple math. EL receives a 20% discount, but for ease with math and everything else, I'm going to base it on 0.15 cents per kilowatt hour. So East Long Meadow, the customer consumes, say, 1 million kilowatt hours of electricity in a year at a rate of 0.15 cents per kilowatt hour for a total cost of $150,000. Altus holds $150,000 in net metering credits. Altus agrees to sell these customers these credits at a discount of 15% for a total of $127,500. We contact the local utility, deposit these credits in the customer's account for specific contracts and periods. So this is where our allocations per site get allocated based on the 60% total of those allocation of credits, okay? The customer saves then $22,500 in that year, potentially more going forward as power prices rise. So to give you an example, so in 2019, based on all those credits, so the credits are also based on how much solar is produced at that facility. So as of 2019, from January 1st to December 31st, was $113,069.73 for last year. For 2008, a little less savings last year. For 2018, $108,183.37. So hopefully that kind of explains how that process works. You guys have any questions? Pretty straightforward?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. That's the only thing I have on the superintendent's report. If you want, we can dive right into the proposed operational budget for FY21 if you'd like.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, I'm going to go through each division and just kind of give you the highlight on the total budget increase or decrease. So for the building maintenance division, 422, a total division, before I get started, my percentages were slightly off at our last meeting on the total on that line going down for all the divisions. My formula was incorrect in my Excel worksheet. You may see a slight variation, so there'll be a slight difference, okay? Oh yeah, that's the sheet. Okay. All right. Building maintenance division, division 422. Total division increase was 1.63%. Under the highway division 421, a total division of minus 3.7%, and obviously we discussed it at our last meeting. That's because of the stormwater. A lot of our supplies and everything else that are related to the stormwater have been shifted over to the stormwater division. Therefore, the decrease. Under the sewer division 440, we have an increase of 4.11%. This this is due for salary increases and Springfield Water and Sewer Commission fees that we pay them on an annual basis. And that actually, under the Springfield Water and Sewer Division, that actually went up 7.71% for next year. Okay? Moving along, the next page, under snow and ice, 423, that's a 0% increase. Under the waste collection, 433, total division increase of 25.75%. That obviously was the increase between part-time salaries for minimum wage, and our tipping fees have increased significantly. So you can see, based on our last conversation, that tipping fees for the disposal of that waste at the transfer station went up 32.4%. So that division, obviously, with all those remarks, is at 25.75%.
We were talking about putting that into its own.
Enterprise fund,
Enterprise
trying to
fund.
make it something that we can generate revenue on, especially that we're probably in the spring, we're gonna finish capping that area.
Well, that'd be great to
And
see
to
going
try to
forward.
do that, get our composting operations up and going, we can sell compost and maybe even loam once we get going. I'm thinking next year, in order to make that more of a success, is obviously start those talks after July 1st, and then look at actually looking for our capital plan, getting a screener and things like that, because we don't currently have one. That would help sustain that operation up there, so we'll have to look into something like that too. Okay, so I'll keep you guys posted moving forward. Okay? All right, anything else?
Nope.
No? Okay. Under the water division, 450, total department increase of 4.52%. Which isn't that bad, given the Springfield Water and Sewer Commission went up 10% from $1,175,000 to $1,292,000 for next year. So therefore, that increase is obviously based on Springfield Water and Sewer's costs for next year. Under the utilities plan, 429, an increase of 1.35%. And then our last but not least, under our stormwater division, 490. That is an increase of 11.79%. That gives us a total public works budget, an increase of 2.02% for all divisions. Under the general fund liabilities only, that separates out all the enterprise funds because those are self-sustaining funds, is actually a minus 0.6% for all our general fund liabilities for the town of East Long Meadow. I have some others in there. Total salaries and OPEB liabilities for all divisions came up to 0.2%. And then total operational for all divisions, that means that's excluding salaries, is 3.2%. And like I stated previously, for general fund liabilities is a minus 0.6%.
Looks good to me.
Okay,
Good.
awesome. A motion or-
So, I'll entertain a motion to approve the FY21 operational budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2021 operational budget.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Awesome. One more if you don't mind. Just two, so I can, yeah. Thank you.
Moving forward, next item on the agenda, Deputy Superintendent Report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I basically just have the one item to talk about, and that's our paving list. There should be a couple of spreadsheets in your packet, I think. We have our capital improvement list and our chapter 90 list.
This is the paving list.
Yep, that's the ones you got.
I'll put those.
The capital list is obviously something that we haven't done in previous years because they allocated money for paving specifically last year. So we're gonna try to spend a good chunk of that on some roads that probably should have been done a long time ago and might not get done under our current budget structure. And these streets are in the sort of in the group of the worst roads in town kind of thing. We had the pavement management study done, so these are all streets below the PCI of 60, which is how they rank them out from 0 to 100. So they're in pretty rough shape. And then chapter 90, standard, we assume we're gonna get around the same funding, 580,000 or so. We've got that pretty consistently the last few years. And we're gonna try to tackle Denslow, which is one of the worst roads in town, based on the pavement management survey. And then a little piece of Shaker there, since we did P's. We're gonna pick up both those intersections while we're right there. And I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments, or this is just our standard sheet for estimating. We haven't done all of our inspections yet on all the streets, so some of the numbers will change a little bit depending on if we have to replace structures or pipes or. I've been talking to Felix about the other piece of the puzzle is now we have all our capital improvement plans and we're trying to make sure if the water main's on in 2 years, we're not paving this year and stuff like that. So we got kind of we're gathering all our information and have a nice little matrix going where we can kind of just make sure we're not overlapping projects or doing them in the wrong order, more importantly. So,
Excellent.
but like I said today too, we could easily replace these 6 or 8 line items with 15 more. You know what I mean? It's kind of, we're basing it on our numbers, and when we don't have projects coming up on streets and complaints, we also get obviously a lot of complaints from certain residents on certain streets, so we try to and how much mix we're using to fix potholes and like Denslow. I mean, Daryl, would you even venture a guess how much mix we put on Denslow in the last couple of years?
Probably, just in patching, probably 20 ton, and then we've gone out and milled areas with our Bobcat, and that's an additional probably 100
ton on Denzel?
at least. That's just count between cold patch and mix.
Well, you gotta remember this too, there's a lot of heavy traffic.
If you look at the other end of Denslow, we did a lot of patch work. We milled out some sections up there where it was all alligator. So that's probably been 5 or 6 years ago now that we did that. But now it's to the point we gotta do the sections we didn't do.
Yeah.
So we got some spots there that are probably 4 or 5 ton areas. So, and then you get down by the pump station in the culvert, and then real devastation there too. It's a couple spots there's one spot that just keeps coming back. It just never ends.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, so how far do you go up into an intersection? 50 feet, 100 feet? When you do an intersection? So you go up, you're talking about P's and Shaker.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to that intersection of Shaker and Denslow is really bad. And Pease is right there, which we just finished, and the joint on the other side, south side of Pease, from there on out of town, was actually a pretty good stretch of roadway.
Yeah, it's solid.
Right. So we're just gonna take from that joint and pull all the way across.
How far P's do you go?
Just to the
To the suite?
point of tangency, yeah, right. Where we ended, basically, which was where the curve stopped and then went up the hill. So we'll just pick up those joints, and then we got some work to do on Shaker, because that's real bad too. And when we get, that'll remain on the list, because that section from industrial to Denslow is bad, but we just won't have enough money to do that this year.
Maybe next year, that portion of Shaker,
We,
there's just a lot of heavy truck.
Yeah. We did do some pavement cores on Denslow. There was roughly 4 inches of pavement, basically the whole way. So this estimate has been tightened up. That's why I didn't bring it up a couple weeks ago, because we wanted to get an actual cost on what we were going to put back down, which we'll take all the pavement off, bang the base down, and build it in 2 lifts, 2.5, 1.5, and hopefully, and me and Darryl will talk, and maybe we even add another extra 1/2 inch, just to kind of beef up the road, just because of the type of traffic that's on that road.
Let me ask you, so I've seen this in other communities, and I don't even know that it's even feasible, where they encourage truck traffic to come and go from a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the protocol is for that, but we could almost, if there was a way to do it, bring them in and exit them a certain way, build the road accordingly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you're gonna cut down on your costs. I mean, you're talking about a 25 or 50-year plan. But if the trucks are being encouraged to come and go on one road, you're just, you're throwing that road away, or, you're overbuilding it.
Right. And there's a lot,
Because there's a lot, they come through Long Meadow, or they come in from 220.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. That whole area
They
around there.
pummel it,
Right.
yeah.
And the trucks coming in our Carlundi on a daily basis for deliveries and stuff like that, so. You got the postal service, everything over there. That's the industrial garden portion
Right.
of the
Yeah,
town,
right.
so all those roads over there get heavy traffic and sustains lots of damage.
This is,
Gotta
you're
build
gonna do
them accordingly.
build
That's
them,
all.
overbuild it,
We gotta overbuild those areas all over in that area.
especially where the low points are there.
Yeah.
So this is all for next year coming up?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be out to bid in a month and a half or so.
How many miles of road is this essentially?
What do we got? 14,000. So that we got about
Miles.
3 on the capital, and almost another mile on chapter 90.
Close to 4 miles.
Huh?
Close to 4 miles
Yep.
total.
That's a pretty good year for us. It's usually like Tom said.
Yeah.
a
Well, they
mile.
added funding, and then it's deceiving, and when we say how much it usually costs, because Denslow, we're putting a lot more pavement down than we usually do. We're milling up 1.5 inches, putting 1.5 inches back. We're gonna eat some money on putting pavement on. A couple beefy lifts of on Denslow. So, but again, like I said, we're trying. There's a lot of factors here, and the reason we asked for the capital improvement money in the first place was to try to catch up a little bit with some roadways that don't get enough attention. Most of the scenarios played out by the pavement management factor in traffic and all sorts of stuff that we're just trying to spread it around, I guess.
And a portion of the capital improvement money, that 1.2 million, we've allocated or saved about $100,000 to put towards the tip improvement project for the state. So we're working with that, our complete streets, and trying to get some preliminary design work, obviously to submit that to the state and hopefully get some significant funding. What do you think, $10 million or something, or if not more, to the whole North Main corridor?
Well, I don't know. The guys went out and did a drainage investigation the other day. We'll have to replace all the drainage on North Main
So
too.
we're going after some big money
Oh, why,
from the state. It's the only way.
No,
To
it's just,
do the green.
No, it's
what?
it's tip money.
Yeah,
The one with the
it's
bike
the
path
feds.
and
Yes.
Yeah, it's,
The enhanced roadways or whatever
Which
they
is
call them.
Converse
yeah.
Street. That's how Long Meadow did
Right.
Converse, I believe. So
That might have been complete streets.
okay,
so you're talking about
okay.
the whole North Main corridor?
yes, all the way to the
So
center.
that would be a
Darkness.
federal,
Yeah.
federally. I think the feds pick up 80%, and the state picks up the extra 20. You have to pay for design,
That's what.
and you have to get approved. Like there's a very
There's a long
lengthy.
list.
There's a very lengthy process to just try to just to get a project approved, and then you're on the list for 5 years out or whatever. So I would guess we'll probably have to do a little bit of surface work
Mhm.
towards Big Y before this whole project goes down, but, cause it's getting pretty bad by Heritage too.
Yeah.
That's why we're saving $100,000 from the capital.
To do that, to
Yeah,
start that design work.
For now.
And like you
Um,
said, part of that too is all our signals, which were put up in the 70s. So it's everything, sidewalks,
everything,
the signals, everything, bike path, sidewalks, infrastructure, I mean, just about everything.
Bus stops.
Bus stops, so all those boxes get checked, so those are part of the criteria in order to qualify. The more boxes you check, the better off you qualify for these types of projects. So it's a perfect match for us, so we just
Yep.
gotta continue moving forward.
So that's ongoing. In the complete streets, we should have the next step was a prioritization plan, which we're working with VHB on, and that should be done in March. And then we go to step 3, and that's to start applying for funding for projects. So that's getting real close too. So hopefully that money can start happening, and then, you know, maybe the town says, you know, maybe every other year they can kick in some more money that's the only way we're ever gonna catch up, is if we have an aggressive sort of capital improvement plan. Just the amount of money we get, I don't know that we're ever gonna catch up, so we'll do the best
No,
with
we
what we
talked
got.
about that, it's unsustainable.
There's $17 million in the rears right now, I believe. And
Something like
was,
that.
I think,
Yeah, that was a
last
couple years
year.
ago, so.
The PD at 5%, that's police department.
Yep,
Is that just a guess, or is that,
no, it's pretty close.
so do we really need police departments on like Woodbridge? It's a freaking side street.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get eaten up somewhere a lot of times.
Somewhere
Just
else.
with all the trucks coming in and out of the street, they'll need
Yeah.
a cop at least the intersection. But yeah, sometimes, right.
$70,000 between the capital and the chapter 90, just so that's out there for everybody. It's,
Right.
it's a lot of money
Yep,
Right.
for road
Uh-huh.
detail for
Yep.
police.
yep.
How old is Woodbridge? 15 years old?
Mhm. Yes. Yes.
Now, is that state law for police to be involved, or is that just
Inspections,
Yeah,
done by
I
the
mean,
town, or?
yeah, if it's deemed that we need
Because you see a lot of communities in Connecticut that just do, you know, the
It's a-
flaggers.
The flag,
I
yeah.
think that's a position there, that's a deal they have through the state, it's a, in the unions and stuff with that, that's a, unlike Mass, I don't believe, we can use flaggers, but
yeah.
it's
I
not,
haven't looked at that.
I'd be curious to see what if there's any
I know there's something,
taxpayer money.
Yep.
one of the reasons why the Connecticut went to it. Yeah,
Right.
you gotta go to it's a
Yep.
whole class
I'm
and
sure
everything.
there's still a cost
I wonder if
associated
you
with
can
it. I'm
actually
just curious
hire
the
somebody.
difference.
I wonder if you could just hire somebody versus a police officer, a
Right.
flagger
Yes.
versus, and I don't know.
Right, I don't know what
Yes.
the rules are.
No, you
I
can't.
didn't, I think you have to use police as a
Yeah, you have to
detail in
use
Mass.
Oh,
police.
you do?
Yeah.
They can't
I'd
Yes.
use
be
flag,
curious to
so-
find out
Yep.
what the laws are, or if it's a state law, if it's a town ordinance. whatever
That's
the case
state.
is.
It's state. They tried to pass it years ago.
I'll take a look.
I'd say probably 5 or 6 years ago they tried doing that.
But some of these,
It's
some
like
of these
5 or
streets don't
6
make
years
sense
ago
to
they
have
tried
a
passing
police
that. It
officer.
might have been
No,
longer,
it's-
but
Yeah, you go to
And-
New
and it-
Hampshire.
it's
and
a
then
good
New York
point,
allows flaggers.
I know we're paying good money
But-
for the police on
Because
overtime and
yeah.
stuff, so just if we can,
Right.
you know, make our money work better for us.
Right. So the number's probably a little high for the side streets, but it's probably a little low for Maple.
Right.
You know, when
It'll-
there's
it'll
hills
come
and
out in the wash.
they're gonna require more than 2 officers and
Yeah,
Um,
certain streets definitely justify having a cruiser and an officer
Yep.
there, but you know,
Yep.
some of these other ones doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't think, in my opinion.
right. And that's a question that we'll talk about with
Yep.
you know, job specific that we'll talk about with PD,
Okay.
whatever they think.
And I'll look into that too.
Yeah, I'd be curious, you know, and start to do some research too, but.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it makes sense to just shut the road down.
Right.
You know, we shut P's
We-
down in a couple
Yeah.
directions a couple times.
Right.
We did that on
Barricades
Maple
out
Shade
and
too.
you
Yeah.
ain't gotta worry about anything.
Yeah, we did that on Maple
Yep.
Shade too, I believe.
Depending
Even
on
with the water main
if
project.
there's a reasonable
And they
detour.
still had details with it closed.
Right.
See, that's stuff that we should be looking at, and you
Yep.
really need detail when a road's closed.
You'd be amazed.
Yeah.
Well, nobody stops at the road
No one
close
stops
sign.
at the road problem. That's the other thing we
I
have.
guess that's a good point.
We can put these out, and I swear,
Yeah.
you put them out, it attracts people.
Yeah. They go
The
around.
more signs, the more people come.
Yeah.
And if there's a way to get around, they sneak around and
Yeah.
go through the side street or whatever they got.
Everybody playing Clark Griswold, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
No, but we'll look into it.
that's the look of it. You know, if these prices come back a little favorable, we may add some more to it. The capital portion of it is more on us. We don't have to really follow the state guidelines like we've been doing with our entire pavement budget. This is sort of whatever the town deems we can do. So if we want to add something or take something off or
Yeah, with the chapter 90, we've gone through this before. It has to be contiguous.
500 feet.
500 feet, so if a street's less than 500 feet, you can't use chapter 90. Unless it's obviously
Swept in,
continuously
right.
goes into that road or something.
Like Shaker
so-
would fall into that because it's only whatever, a couple hundred feet.
Right.
Right.
But because we're keeping it going, it counts.
Right.
So
Wrapping it around Denzel.
yeah,
Gotcha. Is that all?
that's it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Water and Sewer Administrator's Report.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I'm gonna be quick. Last Friday, sent out our public notification for halocetic acids. You guys probably don't really know. Haven't got any phone calls yet. I'm sure they'll be coming.
It's a long weekend.
It's gonna be the same for many more quarters. It's not gonna stop. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We're working with Springfield Water and Sewer Commission closely. They give us weekly reports on their chlorine dosage and everything else, so we can obviously dial back or do what we need to do. So we're communicating with them. Obviously, they're our supplier, so we're doing our best on our end. I'm working with them closely, so.
Thank you. That it?
That's it.
I love it. Highway and Utility Manager Report.
How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I don't have much for you. Still picking up our Christmas trees. That'll be done by the end of the month. Actually, it looks, I drove around a bit today, it pretty much looks like we're almost done. You get a rogue tree here and there. Still working on trucks, maintaining our trucks. We snowed the other night. You know, we dealt with that. And still picking away at, when the weather works with us, we keep going. We were out on Westwood doing a catch basin, and that's about all I got. Not too much,
All
about
right,
the same.
thank you. So that wraps things up.
You skipped building
I'm
facilities.
sorry, Joe. I took the agenda out of order.
Nice.
So, Building and Facilities Manager Report.
The modulars are down at Meadowbrook. They're digging for the foundation tomorrow. Hopefully pour it next week, or end of the week, pour the footing to the foundation. About it.
Yeah,
It's only been a couple of
We've
weeks.
heard from everybody in the last
Yeah,
2
yeah,
weeks. So that's good. We'll move to the last item on the agenda, schedule the next meeting.
I'll leave it up to us, or when we feel it's deemed necessary. Our next item that I'm gonna be working on, after we get through this budget and capital, is to dive in our rates and fees. So I did some preliminary estimates based on long-term debt and interest, our operational budget, so I'll be working on that next. So figure probably end of February, early March, get a couple meetings in so you guys can take a look at everything.
Sounds good to me. Hopefully Phil's on the mend.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll share our news with him tomorrow, and I'll actually drop him off his packet that we didn't receive this evening, and the final budget for him, for his records.
Bruce, do they have to officially approve the paving list, or is that?
Yeah, can you guys just
Or at least the chapter 90?
Yeah, the
forgot what
chapter
bylaws said.
90, to do a vote on the chapter 90, per the town bylaws under the Board of Public Works. To do a motion to accept all the chapter 90 street paving list, FY, for calendar year, 2020.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the chapter 90 budget as put forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the chapter 90 paving as listed on our spreadsheet here.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
you.
you.